technical problems, so we're back. We were kind of doing our own broadcast, but it wasn't being recorded. So now we're back on the air. Okay, here I am with my wine notes, my wine spectator, and my Starbucks cup, and we are speaking in front of a live international audience. I'm Jessyca Lewis. I am a marketing and digital strategist, and I work with the brands you know and love. I currently have a live broadcast on Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook. And I'm also doing YouTube interviews as well. And today, Fran Bridgewater is off in a vehicle right now. She's not able to join us, but I'm here with Max Morales, and he's from Chile. And tell us where you're located, Max.
Hello, Jessyca. I'm Max Morales. I'm in La Serena, 500 kilometers north of Santiago. It's the second oldest city in Chile, founded by Spanish. And the funny part for our listeners in England and Scotland, we have a lot of stories connected to the pirates, like Francis Drake, Bartholomew Sharp, that they were right there, because I'm looking the ocean, stealing the Spanish boats, stealing the gold. So we have a lot of history with wine and pirates.
Well, you know, they seem to be like the two things might go together.
Totally.
The wine and the pirates and then the coffee. So tell me what you're doing with Fran Bridgewater right now. I know you're working on volcanic wines. And so I'll talk a little bit about you, and then you can talk about what you're doing with Fran. So Max graduated as an agricultural engineer. He started to work as a tour guide specializing in wine and pisco tours, and that's a distillation of wine made with white grapes. And so what are you doing currently with Fran? Excuse me. Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
okay.
Sorry. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Sorry.
We're good.
I was just getting some WhatsApp, sending the link for people. Because of pandemic, I'm a wine PR specialist, and Fran does the same. Okay? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you. Okay, I can hear you fine.
So I was doing this since 2000. Fran, kind of the same date, and we met by Zoom that we did once. We knew each other by email. My newsletter, it has 95,000 contacts, and she was on my newsletter. And basically, we became friends digitally because of pandemic. And then we realized we are the same. We do the same. So now we're friends, and we are creating a whole network between UK, Europe, Portugal, and Chile, and South America. We do exactly the same. We feel very close in several angles of our lives.
Oh, great. And so I want to mention really quickly, we are broadcasting live. We're broadcasting on LinkedIn Live, YouTube Live, Facebook Live, Twitter, and we are on many different pages and groups. We would love to have you join us. You're welcome to ask any questions you'd like to ask. It will go on the air live. And then again, after this has gone live, it will be recorded for replay, and you can ask questions then. So Max, why don't you talk about your work history?
Sure. When I was 16, I was an exchange student. I went to Texas. I started with that because Texas became something very important in my life. And I was an exchange student in San Marcos, Texas. And right now, Texas is a wine country, very similar to California. And then I became an agriculture engineering, and I was a tour guide for several years in the wine region of La Serena in Elqui Valley. Then I went to study innovation in the University of San Francisco to create methodologies on working with wine projects. And then I created the methodology to rescue old vineyards, which means we took very old vines and we helped the producers to produce wine out of that. So I can tell you that being also the wine specialist of National Geographic helped me to establish a very unique career because people respect a lot about the institutions that I've been doing things to.
So can you talk a little bit about your background in wine education?
I started to organize events in La Serena, where I'm here. I hired several winemakers, and then I studied the Wine and Spirits Education Trust, level 1 and 2. And then organizing so many events helped me to become a wine specialist, wine expert, and with National Geographic Explorer, they pushed me to become a little bit more as a storyteller, because I needed to entertain 140 people, and I created this presentation explaining the origin of wine in South America, which is a very cool speech explaining when the ships arrived to South America in several ways, from the Strait of Magellan, walking and from the north in the desert, and that became like a myth, because nobody put attention about how the vines arrived to South America. And Chile has wineries or vines since 1551. So I became a library nerd studying all of this, and we also created a wine book about the history of wine. So I've been surrounded by historians, archaeologists, geneticists. I'm very close to Joseph Ojamo, that has come to Chile twice. So and right now we discovered the oldest Cabernet Sauvignon in the world alive and non-grafted, which is very important also with Malbec because of climate change.
Now I know. So I have some questions. I had some questions here for Fran, and Fran is not joining us, but I know that you're working with film production with Fran. So can you talk a little bit about what Fran is doing with Volcanic Wines of the World and film production?
Sure. When we were talking with Fran about how we can make a space in the wine industry to basically help the producers that they are out of the league in the trade, she came with the idea with the category of volcanic wines. Volcanic wines right now is a category that is getting a lot of attention. She's been pushing a lot, and she traveled to Sicily, she traveled to the south of Italy. Right now she's in Portugal. And in my case, I'm looking about volcanic wines in South America. Chile is a volcanic country, so we do have volcanic wines in Easter Island. We have a vineyard there. And create this category has a lot of verticals. She's doing a trade show actually in October to attract investors, attract user tasters, and she's producing a movie which right now she's in the leveraging of money for that. She's in Portugal working with a lot of brands. She represents several brands. She is very close to Steven Spurrier also. And she's becoming a clue decision maker in the wine industry in the south of London, basically. And this category of volcanic wine has surprised a lot to the trade, because they are very interesting, the families that they are related to the category.
Max, Samuel sent a note here. Do you know Samuel?
Yeah, I know him.
Okay. Hello, Samuel. Nice to see you. Feel free to ask any questions. Let us know that you're watching. Send us some hearts and some thumbs up. We'd love to know that you're here with us, and we'd love to answer any questions that you have. So, hi, Samuel. Okay, let's move on here so we did Volcanic Wines. Okay, I know she's also doing Thursday at 11Z's. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
You asked me something?
Yes.
Sorry.
Fran is also doing Thursday at 11Z's. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
I really don't know about that.
Okay, you don't know about that. Okay, let's go on to Andy's Wines. So tell us what you're doing.
Right now,
with Andy's Wines.
After 20 years, Andes Wines is a platform where we have a newsletter of 95,000 contacts of the trade, wine industry, wine writers, it's imported distributors. And I moved back to La Serena, where I started the Andes Wines. So we are focused on representing brands here to do wine tastings. But the most important thing is to position the region in the wine scene, because basically these are the oldest vines in South America, because the Spanish went to the valley, put grapes for pisco production. At the same time, the Peruvians from the north, and several from the south. So La Serena has a lot of tradition in wine, but to produce pisco. And pisco is the distillation of the wine. Also, we are doing the climate change wine tour, which takes people to visit the oldest vines in South America, Cabernet Sauvignon, Malbec, Carignan, Sanso, in different valleys as a tour, a tailor-made tour. And also now we are launching a whole strategy to save coffee. We are doing a coffee plantation in Easter Island. So
yes, and you were talking to me about that a little bit ago. You want to talk a little bit more about the coffee business?
And
okay.
When I was traveling in National Geographic, actually I was tasting coffee, and somebody asked about where the coffee came from. And we know that comes from basically Asia, Ethiopia, and then all the area there, Uganda, and all that place. But coffee was the first drug, literally, because the Muslims, the Marruecos, the Sultan, the Sultan, from there found coffee, and they used to get high because of the caffeine. Then the coffee, they were spreading the coffee along the ships that they were sailing in the Strait of Magellan. They went through Easter Island, and they dropped beans in Easter Island, and they continued to Polynesia. So the archaeologists of Easter Island, Claudio Cristino and Patricia Vargas, that there's a couple that they created the theory of the moais, these stone structures. They have a project to create the first coffee plantation there. I've been working with them 7 years until I found a coffee specialist, which is Alejandro Jara. He moved there, and we are doing the selection of the coffee beans to produce the brand. Right now, we are in leveraging investment for that.
Okay. So the other thing I wanted to ask you, okay, so now we've gone through COVID. So what do you see is going on? So we've gone through the process of COVID. Things have calmed down. We were expecting a downslide in the economy. What are you seeing worldwide with the after effects of COVID? And how do you think that that's changed how we're doing things?
Right now, there is a lot of problems in the wine industry because of China. It started to produce their own wine. For several years, French, Italians, Spanish, Chileans started to help producers to improve their genetics, basically. And now China is producing Carmenere, is producing Malbec, is producing several varieties in the country. So for me, my theory, and we've been talking with the Winemakers Association in Chile, there's a lot of new challenges in the wine industry. People, fortunately, delivery started to work very well, so people can buy wine anywhere. But there's a slower trade with China right now. So a lot of wineries are evaluating to sell in other places.
Okay. And do you think how do you think, aside from the wine industry, how do you think things are worldwide in terms of work and jobs, and what are you seeing on your side?
Well, the creation of new wine regions like the south of London, like Easter Island, where you need to create a workforce. Always the wine industry is creating new jobs. Some of them are very specialized. And I think it's an opportunity. Right now, despite the sales maybe are a little bit slow, there's a focus on several families, like families from Spain, from Portugal, that they have wineries in South America. Several brands have wineries in South America to create a portfolio which has more variety. So they put their wines from Portugal, and then they put the Chilean brands there. So I think the opportunities here are to create new niches, new wines, new categories, so younger people start drinking about wine. Personally, I organize several events of wine, and my focus is to help young people to drink wine.
And when we're talking about young people drinking wine, maybe you can talk quickly about what are some tips for getting into the wine industry, do you think?
Well, for anybody, for example, I used to be living in San Marcos, Texas, and I used to walk to a wine store there very close to my house. And I talked to the kids. I mean, the kids, they were young. They were really young, and they were curious about wine. They didn't have any study in wine. They didn't have Wine and Spirit Education Trust. But fortunately, the wineries in Texas, for example, have become very important in educating and training people to work in the wine industry. In Texas, there's about 100 wineries, and those wineries need workers, need sommeliers, need people in the stores, and we can see that in every single state of the US. In every single state of the US, you will find wineries, and they are creating new jobs. They are creating new things. So I think it's very important to help the young people to get close to the wine industry. The universities, when they have winemaking, they do the training too. So I think it's you can do better for sure, but it's moving.
So a lot of us that are working right now are entrepreneurs. So
Right.
let's talk about some tips for entrepreneurs. So a couple of things I want you to think about. There's tips for entrepreneurs, and what do you think makes people successful? And so I'll
Wow.
ask you the entrepreneurs first.
In the wine business or in general?
It can be in general, because a lot of the people I interview in general are entrepreneurs, and in the wine business they're entrepreneurs too. So what do
Sure.
you think are some tips?
Well, I think most of the entrepreneurs, I have an accelerator to help and coach founders to become founders, to accelerate their operation. I see that a lot of people that have startups, they usually start working younger. I used to work when I was 15 in a library shop with a friend that I have sell books and stuff. And I have my money. And when I had my money, I went to Texas. I started working in a shop, a pottery shop actually. And most of those segments of young people that start thinking about money and how they can travel more, I think that's the spirit that the pandemic in somehow helped to create, because you have the digital nomads, you have a lot of people dreaming about to drop everything and to sell everything and leave, you know. With that, you have another type of person where you are very risky or very creative to survive. I remember that it took me 10 days to sell all my things and leave Chile, but it took me 6 months to take the decision because I was afraid. So right now, when you have so many funds, VCs, venture capitals, supporting founders, I think we have in Chile about 1,000 founders every year trying to get their startups. The statistics are amazing. Right now, I'm negotiating with an accelerator from Texas to bring their operations to Chile, because they see that Chile is generating every single year over 1,000 startups. And I think it's amazing. It's a new category that young people like it, because you have a lot of technology related. People are want to be working close to a computer, and if you are good at programming, your life will be better because you will get more income. I think that's the thing why has been attracted to young people about even the apps for games. Just be a designer of an app, you can get a lot of money out of that you're not going to get in the supermarket, you know. So those are the challenges I want to help people to get closer to technology, and that's why I created an accelerator to do that.
And we'll talk a little bit more about the accelerator, because that sounds really interesting. Mariella just sent you a note. Do you see that on LinkedIn?
Yes.
Okay.
I know Mariela. When I arrived, actually we're doing some things in innovation exactly to help local people from La Serena to become entrepreneurs. I think my mission in life has been to motivate people to search for their spirit.
And then she's saying here that Chile has excellent wines. You want to speak to that a little bit?
Sure. You have to think that, I don't know if you remember the phylloxera. Phylloxera is an insect that kills most of the vineyards in the world.
Yes.
We found that during 15 years, we didn't have wine in the world, okay? And the only country that had wine Guess what? It was Chile. Chile, according to our investigations of the historians, used to sell wine in barrels. They put it in the ships straight on Magellan and arrived to France, Spain, and 100% of the wine that was drunk during that period of time when we didn't have any wine was Chilean, that was mixed with a little bit of a wine left after the phylloxera. That part of the history doesn't exist because the wine industry doesn't want that to be known. My mission is to expose these facts that Chile is clue in the genetic of grapes in the world, because right now, if you find a Malbec or a Cabernet Sauvignon alive, non-grafted in France, you get the lottery because you will not find it. You will find that in Chile. We found the oldest Cabernet Sauvignon alive, non-grafted, and still producing wines. So I think Chile needs to empower ourselves better to, and that's why we have wines from $100 the bottle and now maybe $200 a bottle. It's getting there. We are getting into empower ourselves. We are making a lot of joint ventures with families, Antinori family, Sogrape, Kendall Jackson, that in some point they started with these alliances. A lot of French families like that they are producing Almaviva, for example, Baron Philippe de Rothschild. So Chile has good wine that is being mixed up.
That sounds interesting. So were you able to elaborate on your tours a little bit? I know you were talking about, you were doing some of the tours to the area. Do you need to talk a little bit about that, or do we need to move on to our next question?
No, about the local tours, you mean?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Yeah. I mean, one of my focus is to put Chile on a different angle in the wine industry and wine tourism. Chile can offer several things. You can go to Colchagua, you can go to Maipo, but my mission is to show the oldest vines that they are alive. So we have a map and we have the locations from Arica, from the northern city, from Arica, northern city up to south, that then we have Atacama Desert. And the Atacama Desert, you get vines in the middle of the desert, in water areas that they put the grapes around. Then we have Elqui Valley, Choapa, Limarí, Santiago, until Patagonia. Why Patagonia? The Punta Arenas doesn't have the weather to put a vine, but a girl, the daughter of a multimillionaire Portuguese businessman there, asked her dad to bring a vine, and they put a vine in a crystal house next to the square of the city. And you go to this, now it's a restaurant, it's a hotel, you see a vine from maybe the 40s, 1940s, 60s, and grows, and you have grapes in the middle of Patagonia where you are not supposed to have grapes. So Chile has this variety, this immense, I mean, a huge number of vines that they are isolated, they are not even discovered. So that passion, I think, people started to feel it, like we need to go to Chile. And that's my goal, to be able to guide them and find those places as a wine exploration.
Now, I don't know if you've known this, but I've been next door in Brazil about 14 times. So I haven't been to Chile yet, but I'm over in that next little part of South America. So I go to South America quite a bit. I wanted to announce really quick, there's a lot of people. You're welcome to ask any questions. You're welcome to ask questions after the broadcast if you'd like to do that. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel because I post a YouTube video every week. And Max, let's talk a little bit about those of us that are striving to be successful or that are successful. What do you think the commonalities are?
I think you need to have a resiliency, you say, to failure. I've been very successful, but at the same time, I had huge failures. And when I was in pandemic, in fact, I didn't work for 12 months because all my clients left Chile, as many people didn't do much. And I was making videos of myself, of my past. So I took all my Facebook pictures in folders, and I was traveling I was doing a virtual travel of my past life, feeling better and not feeling sorry about it. So we need to have a strength in mind to be able to overcome any problem, any difficulty, and a lot of people trying to affect you to don't be successful. I think there's a lot of envy in this journey too, where people wonder why we are like we are. Like we want to travel and we want to do things, and people don't have that spirit, and they make things against you. So I see a lot of deception when you become an entrepreneur, but also I see a lot of people that they don't care, and we learn to don't care about what people say. I saw this in Texas. I saw this in Santiago, in many countries where I used to travel. You need to be strong. It's not easy.
I agree. I'm reading a book by Napoleon Hill right now, and it's called Think and Grow Rich. And I believe it came out in the 40s. And a lot of these books, it's funny because similarities go on with the economy. And so some of these books in the 40s, you come around to 2023, and some of the same information is very practical. But one of the things they said is don't give up. There's so many people, you start working on something, it's not working the way you thought it would. You're not generating revenue like you thought it would, and people give up, and someone comes in and takes over and adds something in. And this has happened repeatedly with people. So don't give up is one of them. Another one added in there, well, perseverance. So stay with it, keep going, add in. If your strategy is not working, then change your strategy and keep going with what you're doing in a different way. So I wanted to ask you, is there anything else that you wanted to add in about Fran? We've got about 3 minutes left. And is there anything that you wanted to talk about, what the partnership with you and Fran?
Sure. When we felt so close that we have the same spirit, we're going to merge our strength. And Fran, with me, our focus is to travel to France, to visit the oldest wineries, because if you know Napoleon, right? Napoleon used to have a property in La Romanée-Conti, and Louis Michel Belair, which is a very well-known brand, has a Chilean wine with some friends called Pedro Parra and François Massoc in that time. So I think Chile is so important, and Fran has taken my storytelling angle so important, which is a validation because she's very well known. I will help her to tell her story in the wine industry too. And I think we have a very cool story. It's entertaining. It's a lot of new angles that nobody expects. Fran is very related to technology too, investment. She has a lot of connection with investors. And I think we can make a change. Totally.
That's nice. I'm glad to see everything's evolving. Things are moving forward. For a while there during the pandemic, there were so many people without work, and it seems like things are moving forward in a more productive arena right now. And Max, why don't you tell everybody how they find you on social media if they're interested in tours or contacting you? How do we locate you?
Sure. It's very simple. It's Andes Wines with an S in every single platform. TikTok, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. Right now, I started to collaborate with a wine app that it's working. It's called Sommelier Bot, which is gonna be I think it's gonna change the way we interact in restaurants with the wine, because it has a chat GPT. You put my name, and now we're gonna do a lot of things with that, with Sommelier Bot. So for me, wine, it has so many angles in tourism, in training, education. I live and breathe wine. So.
Well, good. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and end the broadcast, and you're welcome to contact either one of us with any questions, and we will be available on the internet to ask anything. And thank you so much. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I produce a new video every week, and thank you. Oh, I have to do our little thing here. Here we go.